Hello, welcome to the Filipino Canadian. So, in today's topic, we are going to talk about the mental health problem here in Canada. And here I have my good friend, Mr. John Ehrenberg. He will be telling us or giving us a story and giving us idea on the mental health situation here in Canada. And I chose the mental health problem or situation as a topic because I know that this topic is kind of hard to talk to other people. And I thought that this is something as an immigrant that we have to learn or we need to know, especially if you are coming into a new, different country or a different place. These are the things that we need to know about our surroundings. We need to learn about the mental health situation here in the area where we at in Canada. So this is a perfect moment for me to invite my good friend John. So he's gonna give us the idea of the mental health problem situation here in Canada. By the way, I'm gonna show you the book. Like I said, he's the author of this world famous book.
The Road
There
to
you
Mental
go.
Wellness.
The Road to Mental
Yes,
Wellness.
that's me on the cover.
There you go. You can check this out on Amazon, right?
Yeah, Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go.
Under
So
the Road to Mental Wellness.
yeah. So I'm gonna put the link here on my YouTube. If you guys want to buy, actually buy. There
Yeah, it's only like $15. I do this for to help people
you go.
not to make a fortune.
Okay, John. So I'm really excited to invite you because I always wanted to have this topic to like share this topic to our audience. And can you tell us about the mental health situation here in Canada?
Sure, I'm really happy to be here. Do you want me to hold the mic?
Yes, please.
Okay, this isn't CBC Hockey Night in Canada. Hi, my name is John Ehrenberg. A lot of people know me as my pen name, Jonathan Ehrenberg, and I am a addictions counselor by trade. I am a mental health advocate, author, and speaker. Um, I also have a blog called the road to mentalwellness.com, and you can check that out on the internet anytime. And please feel free to drop by and comment and share. Um, so, throughout my life, I have, just to give you a little bit more background, I spent 18 years working in long-term care, and that's where Louise and I had met. And I spent 15 years in the fire service, and now I am retired early with post-traumatic stress disorder and depression and anxiety. So throughout my course, though, of my life, I've been very active in government and politics, and have advised several of the politicians and political parties in Canada on the state of mental health care system in Canada, and more specifically Nova Scotia, which is where Noit and I live. So, mental health is generally a topic that's not as prioritized as many others. So, for example, I'm assuming that when many people move to the country, one of the first things they want to look into is the healthcare system, how they can access it, where they can find doctors, and so on. But I think there's probably less attention paid to mental health access. I'm assuming that it's very tough to come to a brand new environment, country, and take up a living. And Noid here can testify to that. And maybe in another episode, he'll talk to you about how he feels.
Yeah.
Or I mean, you can do it now if you wish. It's up to you.
Yeah, we can do another.
Oh, we'll
Plug.
do that. We'll do that in part two. But
Yeah.
yeah, this is more important to get out the actual information that you probably would need coming here. Firstly, it's important to note that mental health care does fall under public health, but only to a certain degree. So in other words, it's like a two-tiered system. So there's a paid service, like a private industry, if you will, and then there's for public service that's paid for through taxation. And whilst this has been a plan for quite some time, or the model for quite some time here in Nova Scotia, and every province will be different because essentially Canada has 13 different healthcare systems because they're each run by the province. So therefore, you'll have to check your local government for websites for the exact relevancy to where you're going or where you're living. But I assume and I suspect that it's a two-tiered system throughout most of Canada, simply because mental health isn't as valued as physical health, for example. So, um, and the reason why it's important to know that it's a two-tiered healthcare system is simply because it limits access. So when you're first coming to Canada, um, especially from a country that's not as wealthy as Canada itself, um, it's going to be uh, it could be a challenge for you to access mental health care should you need it. At current rates in Nova Scotia, anyway, it's $240 an hour if you are able to seek for-profit care. And because we have a two-tiered mental health care system, it's essentially broken by its own nature, and the fracture is within the two services it provides. So instead of having one cohesive team to look after the mental well-being of Nova Scotians and the people that come here to live and help us out, which we're all appreciative for, and thank you very much for coming. Hope you enjoy the province as much as we do. But this is the problem. So what it does, instead of having like that group cohesion of mental health services that you can access, there's, let's say, if you had 20 psychologists in Nova Scotia, you'd have 10 in private care and 10 in public care, which by its very nature limits the access to the majority, which is you and I, who can't afford the privatization. Um, so I would say that that's probably the biggest hurdle that you're going to run into is so you can either not afford care because you're starting your life here in Canada, or because it's fractured, um, you'll have a long wait time. And that's something that I've worked hard, and I would say probably not as many people have worked hard on to try to fix in terms of seeing that change, because everyone should have access to care. Any anyone that anything that has to do with human suffering, they deserve the care. So um, how to access these things is another important question. So what I would recommend is that if you look at healthcare services as a profession, um, if you needed to seek services for, um, let's say, uh, like you have a heart condition or something like that, you would have a general practitioner look after you, which is a family doctor. But your family doctor certainly wouldn't do open heart surgery on you had they, or if the event came up that you needed that. And similarly, when you're looking at mental health care, it's good to consult like a family doctor or go to a clinic. But ultimately, what you'd want to do is get a referral to see like a psychiatrist, a psychologist, counselor, and so on. One, because, again, a GP or a family doctor isn't an expert in mental health. And two, it will help speed up the process if you're able to get a referral into mental health care. Whereas if you self-refer, you'll be put down lower on the list. So those are some of the recommendations that I have. Now, the other recommendation that I have is not to once you come here and you have a problem adjusting, seek support. And mental health support doesn't have to be in a clinical setting. It can be reaching out to the community that which you're familiar with. Which, if you're from the Philippines, for example, you might be able to reach out to the Filipino community here, or if you're from India, for example, seek support from people who understand your culture, and even be able to speak your own language, and to get it out, maybe even more comforting. Similarly, it's good to find a balance between working here, because working here, and Naweed can testify to this, is pretty much all you'll do. uh, well, the majority of your time. Canada's not a cheap place to live. It's a very amazing country to live in, and it will help your family back home. But the reality is that um, it will take a while for you to get your feet a foothold. So seek support in your family, in your community that's here. Get to know, like Nuit and I have gotten to know each other, and Nuit's sought my help on a number of occasions. More than happy to help him out. So that's another form of support. Um, and the other elements is like to look after yourself, get some good rest. Um, you know, make sure that you have time for yourself, um, just enough to recharge and relax. I know many people that come here end up working two jobs, which, if that's certainly your choice to do. But I think it's really worth taking note and evaluating as you go through the amount of hours that you work. Where am I at? Like, how am I feeling? Can I do this in the long term? Right? Should I make a change in employment if it's too much? So on and so forth. So um, it's not only a system that we have to think about. It's also like those little things that we can do to help us get through. And it's not always easy, but there's lots of support, um, and lots of other techniques that you can use. Eat well, don't skip meals. Um, Make sure you set time aside to do the things that you really love, and stay in contact as much as possible with people that from home, to make yourself feel connected. Um, Fundamentally, human beings are creatures that need to be connected. Um, it's one of the things that science has shown us quite explicitly. Um, a correlation between longevity and the shortness of life is basically how well connected you are in terms of family support, uh, and that kind of thing. So if you're here, you're lonely and you're isolated, it's going to be really that much tougher for you. So I think Nuid came here by himself, and it can be he can tell you down the road that it's much more of a struggle than one would like to take on. So um, luckily, we are lucky now because immigration has been so. I guess that's one of the pros for people that are coming here now is that the immigration process has been so um, sped up
Relax,
and,
yeah.
and relaxed, and so many people have come here now that it's going to be so much easier. I mean, even if you have to, roommate with, have some roommates of,
Yeah.
of your culture, so you can go home and kind of immerse yourself into familiarity.
Yeah.
That's a good way to be connected when you can't be connected with anyone. So um, I think that's pretty well all I have to say for now, other than, you know, you do need to be a priority, but remember your community needs to be a priority because helping one another produces happiness. So on that note, I think I will say goodnight for now, and I hope that Naweed will be gracious enough to have me come back and chat again about mental health. Again, my name is Jonathan Ehrenberg. That's my pen name. I'm a mental health blogger, speaker, and published author. And I wish you well. And if you have any questions or comments or anything that you need, you can feel free to email me at road to mental wellness, ROAD, at gmail.com. All right. Good night, everybody, and the best of luck.
Well said, John. Thank you. I hope you guys learned a lot from this video and from this topic. And we are going to do another video and the same topic soon so that we have more ideas on what we need or what we need to learn about the mental health situation or problem here in Canada. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Peace.